The Tales of series is your typical fantasy JRPG franchise, which I'm sure most of you are all familiar with by now. But just like all the other RPG franchises in Smash, Tales of has had a long history and went on to make a name for itself in the modern gaming landscape. Initially developed by Wolf Team and debuting back in 1995 on the Super Famicom with Tales of Fantasia, Namco later gained the majority of ownership following the release of Tales of Destiny 2. Renaming the development team to Namco Tales Studio in 2003 and later in 2011 was fully absorbed into Bandai Namco. The long-standing franchise then went on to span 16 mothership titles with numerous spin-off entries, with the series going on to receive massive critical and commercial success. While the franchise never really took off much in the West, it did establish itself as an iconic IP in Japan, quickly placing the series on a high pedestal within the JRPG genre, right next to many other series already present in Smash. The franchise was so big in fact, that Bandai Namco started the Tales of Festival event, an annual festival that celebrates the series. And while the series went on to be much more commonly associated with PlayStation following Fantasia's release, it has still maintained an audience within Nintendo, either through timed exclusives or later ports. Now, with Tales of Arise on the horizon, it's time to look at what this esteemed franchise could bring to Super Smash Bros. When it comes to the possible playable characters for the Tales of series, it obviously has to be one of the protagonists, as they're the forefront for representing their respective games and the series as a whole. However, now we need to ask who. While looking at the choices, there are a couple of standout characters that we think would represent the series well. There's Cress Albane, the first protagonist of the series from Tales of Fantasia, but while he does have the longest history amongst protagonists, he's pretty generic, even among your usual JRPG sword heroes, nor is he that popular, or even that interesting for the main Tales of newcomer. Then there's Yuri Lowell, the protagonist of Tales of Vesperia, who is by far the most popular protagonist in the series, even to the point that he's banned in the official character poll. Yuri could bring an interesting and unique moveset, mixing hand-to-hand combat with his sword, and not to mention he's the most popular for crossovers, appearing in the likes of Project Cross Zone and Grand Blue Fantasy. But when it comes to Super Smash Bros. Specifically, we feel that there is no better choice than the protagonist of Tales of Symphonia, Lloyd Irving. Lloyd himself is certainly popular amongst the Tales of fans, but is particularly popular with Smash fans. This is mainly due to Symphonia being the standout game that pushed the series into what it is now and brought a majority of the Western audience into the franchise. With a recent sales ranking for the series, Tales of Symphonia is the best-selling entry at 2.4 million worldwide. This prominence is what helped Lloyd get a Mii costume in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, with Sakurai even commenting on it. He stated when thinking about potential Tales of characters that it just had to be Lloyd for this costume role. And with his Mii costume yet to return in Ultimate, it leaves the possibility open for him to actually be playable. So with this in mind, Lloyd Irving is our character of choice, and the one we're going to be focusing on for this video. Now before we actually get to his moveset and playstyle, we should probably address the elephant in the room, how Lloyd would stand out among the roster. After all, he is a Japanese JRPG sword boy, which Smash has a lot of, you might have seen. Well, for Lloyd, he would stand out because he has the obviously cooler ability to dual wield his swords. It would easily set him apart from the others, as the closest thing we have to a dual wielder is Pit and Dark Pit, but that's only for certain attacks, and really that's just splitting a bow into two knives. As for Lloyd's swords, he won't just be wielding any generic pair, but he'll be using the Material Blade, which will consist of the Vorpal Sword and Flameberg. The Material Blade has major plot importance in Symphonia, along with being strongly associated with Lloyd throughout the series, so him wielding it would be pretty fitting. Okay, onto his moveset. Lloyd's playstyle and attacks can easily transition to Smash thanks to the gameplay of the Tales series. Lloyd's fighting style is all about close combat and is very combo-centric, focusing on quickly racking up damage. This would make Lloyd a rush-down heavy character with an impressive combo game. Lloyd would be tall with average weight and have great ground speed, but pretty mediocre airspeed. Now let's discuss Lloyd's gimmick, Overlimit. Overlimit is a recurring mechanic in the series that debuted in Symphonia. While its exact effects vary from game to game, It typically prevented players from being knocked down while giving access to new arts. In Smash, this would be activated by Lloyd dealing or taking enough damage. When he hits over limit, a black aura will surround him like in Symphonia, and once in this state, Lloyd will gain super armor on his Smash attacks, less knockback will be taken, and his attacks will be slightly stronger. In addition, each of his specials will change from their base level art to their master level art. Over limit's effects would only last about 30 seconds though, so get in as many hits as you can. Another attribute Lloyd has is special cancelling, similar to Terry. To more accurately bring the Tales of combat into Smash, Lloyd would be able to go straight into a special after his normal attacks, further enhancing his combo potential. It would essentially bridge the gap with how Tales of is often compared to a fighting game with its core mechanics. For his normal attacks, the bulk of them would naturally be based on his normal attacks and arts from Symphonia. It's an easy transition as the two series already play pretty similarly. For instance, his rapid jab would be Sword Rain, Sonic Thrust for his dash attack, Fierce Demon Fang for a forward smash, and Tempest for his neutral air. Now let's talk specials. Lloyd's neutral special will be Demon Fang, an iconic basic art that most protagonists usually learn or start off with. Lloyd would slash with one sword in a wide arc, firing off an energy wave. His master level art would upgrade the move to Double Demon Fang, where Lloyd would slash again immediately after the first with his other sword, firing off a second wave of energy. The energy wave will follow along the ground similar to Terry's power wave, though when used in the air, Lloyd will just do the initial series of hits around himself, serving as a strong get off me tool. The side special will be Beast, another classic art which has appeared in most games throughout the series. Lloyd will pull his body back before ramming his shoulder forward, stunning opponents in the process. Then a projection of a lion's head appears, dealing strong damage before quickly fading away. The lion head wouldn't be counted as a projectile, so it can't be reflected or absorbed. It is one of Lloyd's most reliable KO options, and a great way for him to finish off a combo. But Lloyd can also cancel the move before the lion head comes out, by only holding the move long enough for the initial shoulder bash, allowing Lloyd to stun opponents in the process for follow-ups. The move isn't without its drawbacks however, as even with cancelling the move, Lloyd will still leave himself wide open. The master level art would be Raging Beast. Here, Lloyd would spin his swords around, pulling opponents that are caught closer before hitting them again with the lion's head. Raging Beast's initial swing would have super armor similar to Hero's Kazap, though it has noticeably more end lag compared to the normal Beast. For his up special, Lloyd would use another staple art from the series, Tiger Blade. Lloyd will hold both of his swords together, swinging them up, leaping into the air in the process. If the button is pressed again, Lloyd will do a downward slash in the air, giving him a slight vertical boost, similar to Shulk's air slash. Overall, it's a pretty weak recovery in terms of distance, but after upgrading into the master level art, he'd gain Tiger Rage. It functions similar to Tiger Blade, but will have 2 additional hits after the second input, and goes slightly further. Tiger Rage can also meteor smash opponents when hit with the sword's sweet spot on the last hit. Now for the down special, Rising Falcon, an art that debuted with Lloyd in Symphonia. Lloyd would leap into the air before quickly diving diagonally down. Once Lloyd lands on the ground, he would have some traction and slide a bit before coming to a full stop. When used in the air however, Lloyd would simply go straight into the dive, but at a slightly shorter angle, while his master level art would change the move to Rising Phoenix. This would give Lloyd intangibility during his ascent, can meteor smash opponents at the sweet spot, and a fire effect at the attack's apex with more knockback and damage dealt. Lloyd's final smash will be Unison Attack. It'd start with Lloyd slashing outwards with both swords, initiating a unison attack, identical to the way he does it in Symphonia. Anyone hit will be sent into a cinematic final smash, where Colette, Janice and Ryan appear to wail on the opponents with their respective mystic arts one after another. Then to finish it off, Lloyd will use Falcon's Crest, his signature mystic art. During the apex of the move, Lloyd's Falcon Crest would even have the same portrait appear, just like in his home game, before he slams down onto the opponent. Along with that, the final smash instantly KOs opponents at above 100%, like many other final smashes do. The Tales of series often gives its playable characters different costumes to wear, though with the transition of Smash we've decided to stick with just recolors, as none of the costumes Lloyd can wear are that iconic to the character, nor have any major influence on the game besides stat changes or aesthetics. As for those recolours, each one is a reference to a Symphonia party member, much like Shulk's alternative colours. His default is his iconic red shirt and overalls. The first recolour is a white alt referencing Colette Brunel. The second recolour is a blue alt referencing Janice Sage. Next is an orange alt referencing Rain Sage. Then a violet alt referencing Kratos Orion. His sixth alt would be based on Shina Fujibayashi, with a much darker blue being used compared to his third alt. Next is a light red colour based on Zelos Wilder, and finally a pink alt based on Pre-C Combatir. You may notice one of the party members is missing, as we decided to exclude Regal Bryant due to his similar colour scheme to one of the other alts. Now onto the stage, and no better location would fit more than the Tower of Salvation from Tales of Symphonia, a key landmark in that game that appears throughout the story. The stage would be a basic flat layout with two small soft platforms on the left and right of the tower that will move either left or right. Additionally, floating platforms will occasionally appear beside the tower, initially rising from the bottom blast zone. Yggdrasil, the main antagonist of Symphonia, serves as the central stage hazard, appearing in the background of the stage and using arts to affect the stage and fighters before leaving. The arts used are Yggdrasil Laser, Death Eater, and Time Stop. Yggdrasil Laser will have Yggdrasil lock onto an opponent before firing a devastating beam at them, along with destroying any platforms that are near them. Similar to Yggdrasil Laser, Death Eater will have Yggdrasil lock onto an opponent before slamming his fist down, causing beams to rain down from the sky near where the opponent was. Though not as strong as Yggdrasil Laser, it can destroy more platforms in the process. Fortunately, the platforms will respawn after a certain amount of time. The final art Yggdrasil will do is Time Stop, causing the closest opponent to him to be frozen in place for a while after he uses it, thus allowing for others to take advantage of this and get a couple of hits in. All in all, Yggdrasil would be an oppressive force when he's on the stage, emulating how some of the fights against him are completely one-sided. But, as he only targets one opponent and is limited to 1 or 2 attacks per appearance, it could still make for an enjoyable stage that fits at home with Ultimate's less chaotic stages. Now, what's an Ultimate DLC stage without some cameos? First, there's Symphonia's party members who will make an appearance 3 or 4 at a time. Certain songs will affect who will show up, similar to the King of Fighters Stadium. Ramil will occasionally show up instead of Yggdrasil at the centre, but will not do anything and will leave after a while. Along with that, you could also occasionally see 4 Raihards fly by in the background, with Yunka Fei leading it. As for the songs that will play on the stage, the Tales of series is home to a myriad of banging tracks that mostly fit great with Smash's environment. From fast-paced action to slower but still upbeat orchestral songs, there's certainly good variety here. However, we think it's more likely we'll see songs from purely just Symphonia, as it's the focus. Though, working with just Symphonia, there's still some good stuff all around that would represent the series well, so have a listen for yourself. Lloyd's classic mode is titled Journey of Regeneration. As the title infers, this classic mode ties into Lloyd's initial goal of travelling around the world with Colette to stop the Desians and resupply the world with mana. The classic mode will have Lloyd pair up with a blue Zelda to represent Colette as they fight against characters representing the Decian Grand Cardinals and the Cruxis. Round 1 is against a black Simon and 2 Meta Knights using the Dark Meta Knight ult on Delfino Plaza. Simon is in reference to Magnius, who oversees, pun entirely intended, the human ranch near Palma Costa along with his 2 underlings. The song, and Thus I Can Do It, will be playing in the background. Round 2 is against a blue Robin who is assisted by 3 blue Robs on Temple. The fight is in reference to Kavar and his drones, while Temple is in reference to Lewin, the closest to Kavar's human ranch. Full Force will be playing in the background. Round 3 will have Lloyd and Colette square up against a giant green Ganondorf on Shadow Moses Island. The fight is based on Rodial and the remote island human ranch he is in charge of. While this is going on, the song Fatalize will be playing. Then round 4 will have Lloyd and Colette return to their hometown of Vicilia and they fight against a red Mega Man and 2 yellow Robs on Guar Plains. This battle will be in reference to the Forcistus fight and the human ranch he watches over, which is next to Vicilia. The Desian Grand Cardinals theme, Law of the Battle, will play in the background. Following that, round 5 is against a red Palutena and 2 Ikes with their black ults on the Tower of Salvation. This battle represents the leader of the Desian Grand Cardinals, Pranima, and her 2 underlings that assist her in her second fight against the party. The music Last Battle Decision will be playing. For the penultimate fight, Lloyd shall be fighting alone as he reenacts his one-on-one duel with Kratos. Lloyd will be fighting against a blue Advent Children Cloud on Omega Form Guar Plains. Kratos' theme End of a Thought will be playing in the background. After the player is done with the bonus stage, Lloyd's boss fight will be against Marx. Marx is substituting for Mythos, the leader of the Cruxis and the final boss of Symphonia. This just naturally seems fitting considering Marx's area and kind of angelic wings. The music is Mythos' final boss theme, Final Destination. Once the player has finished Lloyd's classic mode, they'll be rewarded with his fighter spirit. The fighter spirit, as well as a majority of the spirits, will be pulling from their artworks from Symphonia's original debut character art, rather than any artwork that is more commonly used for newer material. This was done as we wanted to maintain Tales of's iconic sketchy character art style that Kosuke Fujishima made the series well known for. We'll be starting with the spirits in the lowest level and then work our way up from there. Noish is a novice support spirit and is represented by a duck hunt with the white ult on Yoshi's Island melee. He will avoid fighting and will have increased move speed. He will also be assisted by Lloyd, so defeat the main fighter to win. Once defeated, you'll receive his spirit effect, which gives player the improved escape. Our next novice spirit is Regal Bryant, who is a support spirit. Regal is represented by a Ryu using his white ult on distant planets. He'll have increased foot attacks and prioritise kicks and knee attacks. Upon being defeated, his spirit will give the player the effect Increased Foot Attacks. Now onto our advanced spirits. First there's Genis Sage, a primary grab type spirit. He is represented by a blue Robin on Guar Plains. He will start the match with a boomerang, referencing his kendama, and his magic attacks are powered up. His spirit effect will increase the player's magic attacks. Rhine Sage is a support advanced spirit. She has fought as Robin with a red ult and has her magic attacks powered up. She'll start the match with the staff item and will have the auto heal effect. The stage will be Guar Plains and her spirit will give the effect Perfect Shield Reflect. Next is Sheena Fujibayashi, a primary shield type spirit. Sheena will be played by Sheik on Midgar. When the battle starts, a Vulpix will spawn and assist Sheik, referencing Sheena's personal summon, Corrine. The enemy has increased speed when at high damage and your defense and move speed will suddenly be decreased in the battle. Periodically, a Master Ball will spawn and items are attracted to her, referencing her various summon spirits. Her spirit effect is a damage increase to magic attacks. Preci Combatir is a support advanced spirit. She'll take the form of a villager with the pink ult on Reset Bomb Forest. She'll prioritise her down special and will have super armour but move slower. Her spirit effect will be an increase in battering items. For our ace level spirits, first we have Kratos Orion, a primary attack type spirit. He is played by a blue Advent Children Cloud on the Tower of Salvation. He'll start the match with a back shield and his melee attacks are slightly increased in power. he'll charge up a powerful final smash. His spirit effect will increase damage from sword attacks, referencing how Kratos trained Lloyd. Zelos is our next ace primary shield type spirit. He is played by Roy with his pink ult on the Tower of Salvation. Just like Kratos, he will have a back shield when starting the match due to their shared equipment. He loves to taunt throughout the match, and the left and right controls will suddenly reverse in nod to spoilers. The spirit will give the player an increase in magic attack. Now onto our next chosen, Colette Brunel, an ace primary attack type spirit. She'll be played by a blue Zelda on Temple and will be assisted by Lloyd. She'll have an increased magic attack and will have a low gravity effect on, nodding to her angel abilities, and how after becoming an angel she'll fly during battle. Periodically throughout the match, earthquakes will shake the stage, referencing Colette's usual tripping. Her spirit will give the player the effect increased item throw, substituting for her chakrams. Ending off our ace level spirits is Martel Yggdrasil, a support spirit. She will take the form of Palutena using her green ult on Omega Form Temple. During the match, she will be invisible and will regain her health over time. Along with that, the healing sprout item will commonly spawn, and her spirit effect will give the player the lifesteal effect, referencing the true purpose of the journey of regeneration. Now onto our legendary spirit, and it will be a special case when compared with the other DLC legendary spirits. The spirit will initially be Yggdrasil, a primary neutral type ace level spirit, but can be enhanced into Mythos, a legendary level spirit. Yggdrasil will take the form of a Pit with a blue outfit on Final Destination. Pit will have super armor, causing him to be hard to launch or make flinch, and he'll prioritize his neutral special, representing his angel arts. His smash attacks will also have increased power for the fight. Once you defeat him, it's not over yet, as he has a second phase where a giant metal pit will spawn, similarly to Yggdrasil's final boss fight. Now once you've defeated that, you'll be rewarded with his spirit, and upon enhancing it, it will give you a unique effect just like the other legendary DLC spirits, that being a double boost to hyper smash attacks. And last but not least, the Mii costumes. We've decided to choose some of the other Tales of protagonists, much like how Joker brought Persona 4 and 3 protagonists with him, along with a couple of Symphonia's party members, though thanks to this, the bulk of them would all be sword fighters. First off, there's a costume based on Cress Albane, the protagonist of Tales of Phantasia. Next, another sword fighter costume based on Yuri Lowell, the protagonist of Tales of Vesperia. Then a sword fighter costume based on Luke von Faber, the protagonist from Tales of the Abyss. And finally, for the protagonist, there's a sword fighter costume based on Stan Alarion, the protagonist from Tales of Destiny. As for the Symphonia costumes, there's another brawler costume for Sylvarant's chosen, Colette. Then a sword fighter costume based on Tethela's chosen and the fan favourite Symphonia character, Zelos. And that does it for all of the Tales of content we could see in Smash. While there is a heavy focus on Symphonia, that is to be expected as Lloyd is the player character. Plus, considering how most of the Tales games aren't connected with their continuity, it'd make it difficult to squeeze in other elements outside of maybe music and spirits. We want to thank our Discord user Blitz for providing the first draft of this script, and if you have any questions, direct them his way. We also want to thank all of our patrons, and in particular the $5 up patrons who are appearing on screen right now. If you want to support us, the best way to do it is to share this video with your friends and get them interested in watching more Or content. Obviously, likes, subscribes, comments and all that engagement also certainly help, but the biggest thing you could also do for us is to remember to return to the source.